Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Rahul Subramaniam, referred by his team as the AWS Mythbuster and creator of the cloud cost optimization software Cloudfix. Rahul Subramaniam is one of the premier champions of AWS services and the innovation they provide the business world. Rahul has seen the need for improved cloud management and cloud ops since 2007 when he started moving companies to AWS servers, bringing a large swath of the corporate world to the cloud. Alongside championing AWS to companies moving back to the cloud, he continues to push AWS to its limits, conducting unbelievable experiments on AWS products and services in order to determine what AWS needs to be what Rahul knows it will be, the operating system of the future, negating the need for a multi-cloud strategy. Well, good afternoon, Rahul. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me here. Really excited for this conversation.
Absolutely. This is exciting. Again, I traverse the globe every single day. And today you're coming out of the great country of United Arab Emirates or Dubai. And I'm just so excited that you took the time to make this happen. And we're going to jump right into the questions. That way we can get your story out to our audience. So Absolutely. Rahul, you have quite the career in tech, right? You're a senior executive, founder of Cloudfix, and now the CEO of DevGraph. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
That's a great question. I think as I look back at the last 2 decades of my career here, I think the one thing that's stood out for me personally is the fact that I have had the realization that instead of looking at my work as tech work, I look at my work as the work of a problem solver, and technology just happens to be one of the tool set that I use to solve these problems. And as long as I've had the problem solver mindset, I think people have valued the solutions that I've provided. And that's been a big part of my growth and my career over here. So yeah, I think just shifting my mindset from a techie mindset to a problem solver mindset has helped me a ton. Even though I am a techie at heart and I use a lot of technology to solve these problems, the key mindset is the problem solver mindset.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Again, we are a technology platform, but sharing just some little gems here with our audience helps inspire others. So thank you. And Rahul, we're going to switch gears here. I want to talk about the fact that you're all in on AWS and kind of a go against the grain of many tech thought leaders when it comes to a multi-cloud strategy. Can you explain why you believe having multiple cloud providers is irrelevant?
Absolutely. So I'll add one other thing to my way of thinking. So apart from thinking of myself as a problem solver, I have to admit that I'm a lazy problem solver at that. So when I say I'm lazy, I don't like complexity. I don't like owning a whole lot of stuff. And when it comes to problem solving, you kind of realize very quickly that the problem solving has little to do with owning a whole lot of technology and a whole lot of, the code base that goes with it. And very early on, this is back in 2007, in fact, when cloud technology was just coming up and AWS was the only player in the game, the big aha moment I had was the fact that instead of having one of my team members, run across the state to one of the remote data centers that we owned, or that where we had a colo, we had a cage where we had servers running, instead of having that mechanism where every now and then someone would have to drive up, hundreds of kilometers to get there. I could literally just make an API call and launch, some sort of compute and have, storage attached to it and so on. And I never had to worry about whether it would scale or not, and it was somebody else's problem. That was my big aha moment. And ever since then, I have seen AWS evolve, building out all these amazing pieces of plumbing, and more so growing the higher order services, where now it's no longer just the basic compute and storage and all of those basic services. There are tons of very interesting higher order services that they have come up with that I love to leverage. And that's where I think all the value is. When you think about a multi-cloud strategy, you have to basically dial down your utilization of services or managed services down to the least common denominator. And that's really not where all the value is. The value is in the higher order services that take away a lot of the complexity of stitching together all this compute and storage and all the other services into something that's truly meaningful, something that delivers business value out of the box. And to leverage that like a commodity service is incredibly, valuable to anyone building products for end users and end businesses and customers and so on. So I like the idea of riding that wave of higher order services and just doing the bare minimum to deliver amazing value. And therefore, sticking with one cloud provider makes most sense. And AWS in particular has been awesome in that, they are way ahead of the game when it comes to all the other providers. But AWS specifically makes a very, very conscious trade-off in favor of innovation. They are on this mission to take a lot of utility software and turn it into commodity managed services, which are available like any other utility. So I love that about AWS, and that's kind of why we went all in on it.
I totally see your point there, Rahul. We've talked about the customer experience, right? And sometimes when you add that level of complexity, you can't provide the value or you can't provide that level of customer service. So I totally appreciate your thought on this, and thank you. And so Rahul, you're obviously leveraging some new and emerging technologies within your tech stack. Is there something you might be able to share with us today?
Yeah, so actually there are a lot of amazing services. For me, it isn't so much specific about the tech stack, but I think when I talk a lot about this, which is the higher order services at AWS is what I get most excited about from a tech stack perspective. Because one of the realizations that I had, by the way, today I manage about 2.5 billion lines of code across all of our acquisitions and everything else that we've had over the years. And it's a nightmare to manage all of that code. And the realization that I've come to is that over 95% of all of that code was built up over the years, over the last 2 decades, but it's now available as a commodity service or an API call that I can make into AWS. So I don't see the point of owning all of that code. I don't see the point of, building all of that ourselves or owning it. There is no tech diff in it. It's commodity, it's utility. And therefore, leveraging these higher order services, whether it is AWS's forecasting services, personalization services, the BI, analytics, machine learning, there's just such amazing set of out-of-the-box services available now from AWS that I see huge value in being able to leverage them and just stitching them together. Like the real change in paradigm for me is instead of writing tons of code, now it's all about stitching together all of these amazing services to create amazing, valuable products. And that for me is the big game changer. That I see is completely transforming the way we do technology over the next decade.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the little nugget on that because we do really enjoy our guests digging into some emerging tech. So thank you. So Rahul, last question for you here today. Can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either technology or leadership?
Like I said right at the beginning, I think in hindsight, this wasn't something that I didn't have an aha moment that kind of brought this about. But I realized very quickly that technology is transient. What is great and awesome and the next big thing today is going to be old and crap tomorrow. So that is an invariant when it comes to technology. The other invariant as a developer, as a technologist, is the one constant that I've found across technologists is that we make it we have a tendency to basically look at something that someone else has done and look at it critically and say, oh, that just feels like crap today. So when you evaluate any work that anyone else has done from a technology standpoint, it'll always feel obsolete. It'll always feel like they did a shoddy piece of work. But in the context of when they did it and how they did it and the problems that they had, it was probably the right decision. So being attached to technology, I think, just leads to a whole lot of pain in long-term career growth. So when someone says, hey, I'm a Java person, or I'm a .NET person, or I'm a Python person, like red flags go off for me, because I'm like, you shouldn't be that. You should be a problem solver where you're solving interesting problems. And you should, if you're a technologist, you'd have a wide breadth of technologies that you are capable of learning and, adopting. And you should be a lazy problem solver as much as you possibly can. Because that technology is going to keep changing. There's always going to be something new. There's always going to be, something that's new and shiny. It was, JavaScript some time ago, then Node, then the whole Go, then Rust. There are just technologies that are going to keep coming up, and it's going to be the new shiny thing every single day. And every day there's going to be something new. So as long as you focus on being the problem solver, where you can sift through all of this technology stuff and really apply the most relevant technology to solving something that is important to someone. As long as you focus on that, I think anyone can be incredibly successful, because that's really the key. Everyone wants value delivered, and everyone wants someone who is capable of leveraging technology to go solve that. So just remember that that a specific tech is going to be transient. You should kind of gear yourself up to learn constantly, and don't be attached to any one technology or any one stack.
Rahul, thank you. I appreciate that. And I love the terminology you use, having, I guess that being smart is what you're trying to say when you say being lazy, a lazy technologist or solution provider. But I know exactly what you mean. And we've got to be sure that we're always providing the best customer service when it comes to our technologies, because we are the ones that are innovating, providing those solutions. So, Rahul, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again, Brian. It was an absolute pleasure.
Bye for now.